This is Billy D. Williams. IT in the D. It works every time.
Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D show. I'm your host, Bob Waltonspiel, hanging out with producer, co-host extraordinaire, Randy Walker. Guest this week, Miss Cathy Shim. She is the managing director at Vaco Staffing. We did have a recruiter on that was out of state about a month ago. Cathy's actually local. It's been a big hot topic about recruiting, job hunting. What do you do for new grads? Because it's not like it used to be back in the day, Randy. And Cathy's going to give us a little insider baseball on how to land the job you want and what you need to do to get there. But you can find us online, itinthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials and subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Should we change that tagline? Because you don't really sell the podcasts.
That was the point, Randy.
Yeah, but now there are podcasts for sale. So.
I'm not selling it.
Yeah, but we're not selling it. So
it's not funny you're saying anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know how
update with the times.
You know how bad I'll stutter if we have to do a new tagline.
Oh, I know. We tried a new intro for a few weeks and then you just dropped it.
I did.
That was over a year ago at this point. Yeah,
not happening.
Why do we need to tell people what the show's about at the beginning of the show? No, they'll figure it out.
We've been on 12 years. We're fine.
Yeah. December 18th. That is our final meetup of the year. We will be right here at Detroit Shipping Company, 5:00. That is a Thursday. Probably upstairs,
the Nino Brown room. Nobody gets that reference. That's okay.
Yeah. I don't even get that reference in
New Jack City.
Is that a movie?
He had like the crow's nest at the nightclub where he watched all the stuff going on. So it reminds me of that.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, the windows do kind of make it like that. Exactly. So make sure you grab your drink at the bar before you head upstairs. And also, by the time this drops, last night would have been the final night of Ann Arbor for the year. They were at Homes last night. Kind of weird talking about the past in the future.
It's fine. we're quantum computing. We're going to get there soon.
So we'll assume it went well. But yeah, join us. It'll be a great time.
Kathy, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Great to see you.
Than's for having me. I feel very official.
This is your first podcast.
This is first podcast.
Yeah, you're a natural.
This is very official. You got a camera, you got the lights, you got the camera, action, everything. Thanks for having me.
We're in a shipping container.
Yeah. I was a little afraid when you said that you were outside. I thought I was going to freeze outside, but no. I'm warm and
actually, we were recording on Sunday, and there was like a DJ going on downstairs.
Oh, okay.
And like the walls were shaking, and we're like, "Oh my god, what?"
You should have invited me on that night. I would have been dancing it up with the DJ.
That's what we get for being in a live event venue instead of being in a private office.
Right.
But yeah, so I want to start off. I had coffee the other day with a friends of a friend.
Yeah.
MBA, basically from U of M. Played professional tennis, played tennis at U of M. And the only thing he can get anyone that will return his call is either the logistics company that wants you calling 100 phone calls a day or the payroll company that wants you making 150 phone calls a day. He goes, analyst, product manager, no one will touch me as an account executive. And he goes, I don't know what to do. Yeah. And I'm sitting there going, I'd love to know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And he's using the network. He's out, he's calling people. He's got mentors, nothing. Yeah. I don't want to use this as a doom and gloom thing, but there's more than him out there.
There is, unfortunately.
Is LinkedIn, I don't want to say it's dead, but applying anymore, is that just gone?
Yeah.
Done?
Yeah. Here's the reality of it. So, and you know a little bit about my background. So I, before I joined my current company, Vaco, primary solution that we provide is talent solutions. And then we have consulting and managed services through our parent company, Highspring. I had stepped away from the staffing and the recruitment industry for about 5 years, right? And we worked together in consulting. And coming back about a year ago, I came back at a very interesting time in the marketplace, right? There's always been lots of applicants, right? Whenever there is a job, right? That is no secret. But in today's current climate and today's market where layoffs are unfortunately too common, right? There are hundreds and hundreds of applicants for one job posting. So the ability to differentiate yourself by applying to a job, unfortunately, the opportunity is very scarce for you to actually get a job through a job application. And so, you mentioned that he's reaching out to people, trying to look for mentors and mentees. That human touch and element, really, the things that need to happen outside of LinkedIn is what's really going to help him propel into getting the right opportunity for him.
Well, and that's the thing. I usually, once a quarter, I'll usually meet with someone that I go, all right, I'll put my time into this person.
Yeah.
And this person got vouched for by like 2 people that I knew very well. And I didn't want to say I was lost, but I was, then what happened was after I left, I reached out to a couple people I knew that were high up, and I said, hey, this is a good kid.
Yeah.
There's an internship by you, but he's way past that.
Yeah.
And they're like, let me look out for him.
Yeah.
So now I got 3 more people looking out for him. And I think that's the key to it. Cause back in the day when Randy and I were doing the pink slip, we used to do the pink slip parties, right?
Yeah.
And GE, I remember hired like 300 people, whoever they could get their hands on.
Right.
And people were taking bartenders with an A+ certification and putting them at a help desk. Yeah. Those days, they're gone.
Yeah.
Like Tech Systems, Stefanini, they were all hiring as many as you could throw at them.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time, and I don't think anyone has a good answer. And I'm curious to get your take though. Like, what is there an entry level cert, or is there anything? Because I mean, you're looking at this kid's got an MBA.
Right.
I've talked to comp sci degree, bachelors.
Yeah.
And they can't even get help desk jobs. Yeah. And is there anything out there for that entry level?
There are, and unfortunately, we don't work on a lot of entry level position because typically, companies are not looking for, staffing organizations.
Sure.
They're not willing to be blunt, right? They're not willing to pay a fee for a recruitment company to find them entry level position because that's so easy for them.
Sure.
So, unfortunately for him too, especially being entry level, there's only so much recruitment companies can do as well. Right. And so that limits his opportunity. I will say, there are organizations that look for a lot of entry level sales professionals, especially, and that's maybe an entryway into technology as well. That's how I got into.
Sure. That's how I did too. Well, that's what I thought too. And I said, yeah, he goes, I don't want a cold call. I go, my first job was banging phones.
Yeah.
And I said, but I go, one of the reasons I started IT and the D and the networking groups and all that is because I realized how much I hated 100 phone calls a day going, can I please speak to the IT manager? We've all been there.
Yeah.
I would like go out and meet people and I go, like I just went to this event. I met 18 people.
Yeah.
And I'll have coffee with 5 of them. And you know what I mean? Like this is a lot easier. But for the techie though, for the nerd, he was kind of in between. He was like analyst, he got his MBA specialization was finance. He goes, I'll be a finance analyst. But it's crazy to me how I'm going to call them out, predatory some of these these payroll companies and these logistics companies are, like, to grab an MBA and off. Oh, Skippy is making $600,000, and these kids get all wide eyed, and then they get in there and it's an absolute hellhole, and there's no parlay. That one of the things I was telling him is, I go, you want something you can parlay out of. Yeah. If you get into that, you never parlay out.
Yeah. The best advice that I can provide is the networking and the making connections, figuring out where you might have opportunities doesn't start after you graduate. It has to be from the moment that you enter college.
Yeah.
Right. Because colleges also offer a lot of opportunities, right? They've got lots of partnership with other organizations, right? They've got, lots of resources, right? For you to go to different networking events. And so just finding opportunities to have as many coffees and handshakes with people as much as possible.
Yeah.
Start that early. It doesn't even, and those who have high school students, right? I would encourage them to do the same thing, right?
Well,
and try to really figure out how to make connections early on in their childhood.
Right. And so that's the thing. Like, I have one daughter that's switching majors, going back into IT. Mm-hmm. And then I have another one that says, well, I want to get into consulting.
Yeah.
And now I'm having these meetings with these kids that got MBAs, and I'm looking going, oh no, like, what? I don't want to not tell them that, I keep saying like data security and data science, security and data science are like that's the path. But like, I think that was the thing back when we used to do the career program that we were doing was, I think a lot of people forgotten about network engineering. A lot of people forgotten about like being a Linux admin, being a server admin, doing the basics.
Yeah.
And because I think like even like coding, we're like, well, AI is coming out.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to be coders anymore. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's so not true. Like, what are you seeing? What
Yeah.
are you still seeing the old school kind of IT jobs out there still?
Yeah, there's still definitely a variety of IT jobs out there, but the IT market has changed, dramatically, right? It's a really interesting market right now, right? It specifically in certain skill sets like AI, right? Yeah. Like the demand for AI completely outpaces.
So what does that mean for you? Because every time we have someone talking, it's an insanely different definition. We look at it as just another tool.
Yeah.
Some people think that this is the end all. Like when you say it, what do you mean?
It could be a tool, it could be a platform, but really systems and processes and solutions in place to help build efficiency, right? Sure. And work as a collaborator with human elements, right? To be able to drive automation, right? To be able to ease people's work in order to be able to do things. And you can't have AI without having a sound talent strategy, right? To make it successful. And I think the reason why I don't like to say just AI is just a tool, right? Sure. Is because AI is not successful without the human in the loop, right? And
it's R2D2.
Yeah.
He still needs Luke Skywalker. Luke needs him to tap into the Death Star mainframe. Yeah. But at the end of the day, R2D2 isn't saving the rebellion. Luke is. That's my only analogy that I can tell. To make it make sense.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so we see a lot of different demand for AI talent, right? Whether that be AI strategists, AI automation developers, and really what they're looking for is scientists, right? Mathematicians, sure. Right? And I think that type of skill set, to your point around coding,
until they take a stats class and they quit. I'm just saying.
That demand for that skill set is continuously on the rise, sure. Right? And so we're seeing a lot more demand for that. We are seeing less demand. And it could be, a lot of companies are also looking to their own internal teams, right? To be able to help fill in roles like project managers, business analysts. There used to be a lot of, right?
Well, that's what said. What is it? What's the saying? They say soft skills is the new hard skill. Is that
what the heck does that mean?
That means like being a people person. Means as much as someone just said it to me, and it was kind of profound to me.
I mean, people skills always matter, but
they didn't matter. They didn't matter 8 years ago, 10 years ago. You could be a nerd and sit you in the corner and type code, and you were fine. Now I think you need to be like aligned with business goals.
On the role. I think like if you're just a code monkey, then you don't really need people skills even today. But if you're program manager or working with a client or any sort of interactions, you'd have to be at least able to hang on to a conversation a little bit.
Is that going to be the subtitle for this podcast? The soft skills are the new hard skills. So no. Randy's going to edit that part out. He hates it so much. So speaking of AI, I get conflicting things a lot going, hey, use this AI tool and rewrite your resume based on this job description.
Yeah.
Personally, I have a hard opinion that that's absolute butt trash.
Yeah. Yep.
So I take it that you feel the same.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that this is why, again, applying for jobs on LinkedIn or online doesn't work, because as the employer, you get all these resumes. They have all the keywords that are on your job description. Right. You know that it's created by ChatGPT.
Well, then what gets through? Right? Because they that's what the guy
Do ATSs even solve a problem these days, or are they worthless?
No, I mean,
applicant tracking systems.
Yeah, applicant tracking systems. What works is for you to actually talk to the human being, right? And that's where it's hard for employees, and that's where a lot of clients come to us, right, to help with that process, because they don't have the time in their hands.
Well, then
to screen through these candidates, right? They've got other things to do.
Well, then on LinkedIn, you'll see like Joe Johnson's the hiring manager. Then he gets LinkedIn requests from 3,700 people.
Right.
And then they get the plain text going, hey, and then it's no different than applying. Like, you can't build a relationship like that.
And the other thing I would say is don't wait to see a job posting. So perfect example is how I got my last job where we worked together. I didn't see a job posting. I didn't see an open role. I just knew about the company. I knew somebody that had worked at the company. I knew something about the culture.
How do you think I got there?
Right.
Cell phone.
Right. And so I just reached out to somebody I saw on LinkedIn. I saw that they had a Michigan office. I was moving here from Toronto, right? And I didn't know anybody in the Michigan office. And so I reached out to the TA person that I found on LinkedIn. And I said, hey, I heard a lot about the company, heard great things, and I'm looking for a new sales position. I'm moving to Michigan in the next couple of months. Should something come up, please let me know. And she's like, actually,
Right.
we never posted it, but we do have a role. And next thing you know, I got the job within, a couple weeks.
Right.
Right. And so just finding those opportunities, like really narrowing in on like, what's the type of company, what's the type of culture that you want to work for. Right. And if there's a company that really aligns with that criteria for what your skills and your goals and interests align to, then go after it. Go on LinkedIn. And that's the magic of LinkedIn, right? The magic of LinkedIn is not looking at what jobs are out there, what job postings are out there. Not anymore.
Well, there's the old saying that like people don't quit jobs, they quit their bosses.
Yeah.
And that's another hard thing to gauge is like the culture might be a fit.
Right.
So that's like, and you might not know the style you like or don't like yet, especially if you're rather new.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
And there might be something that you do that completely sets them off edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's, I always looked at like, not to say like we're all free agents. Right. I tried to like, that's what I told the kid at coffee. I'm like, just make sure you're a free agent. Like make sure you're continuing your education. Cause that's the thing in IT, like if you're never done learning.
Yeah.
If you follow anyone that's been at AWS, like it was a recert in November.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the engineers were like, I'm on 14 to 16. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like the whole month they're just like recertified. That's a thing. You have to do it.
Yeah.
But like, so let's talk, like, I want to ask two things, but one is like ghost postings. Like that's probably where you want to, I've heard of it and I don't know if it exists or not because I've never, gone down
when
that
you
path.
say ghost postings,
So like big company Y wants to show there's activity there and they make a fake posting and I don't know why they do it. Have you heard of this? Because I talked to someone not too long ago and they mentioned that like
we don't see a lot of that. I mean, it's not something that I've particularly seen enough traction of that that's been brought up as like a challenge.
It's a very weird PR thing to build buzz about a company going, oh.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, we haven't seen that, especially not with our clients anyways.
Right.
Yeah. Do you mean like companies are posting up
fake jobs
just to build some kind of like PR?
Or just to say, we're still hiring. We're not, because if they show they're not hiring, then they'll go, are they something wrong?
Now, there's definitely companies that might post up proactive postings. I've seen that, right? Sure. Like, hey, we know come Q1, we'll need X skill set, right? Yeah. And, and we want to proactively see what the market is like.
Right.
And what the salaries are like, right? What the hourly rates are like. We've seen that, but not necessarily ghost postings.
So let's talk about futures then. You brought that up. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's something generic. That's my biggest beef with IT people. It's like, oh, I do IT. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you don't. You do really cool stuff. You just don't brag about it. But what is there a skill set? When you say AI, we can't say AI. Like, what is the skill set that like 3 months, 6 months, like what do you see coming down the pipeline of like stuff that's in demand that companies are like, I need, like, I'm just looking at, and I'm asking you to crystal ball. You don't have to have a perfect answer for this, but like, if there's somebody sitting here going, God, how do I get ahead of this? Because like back in the day, like I said, the A+ Net Plus cert used to get you in.
Yeah.
And then you could work from there and that's gone.
Yeah.
So like, what do you see anything like this other than data and security? That's the easy answer.
But honestly, that is where it's going, right? Yeah. Like if in terms of like, if you're asking predictability around what's going to be the wave of constant demand, unfortunately it is around AI, but then also what's tied to AI is data, right? So like data engineers, right? Data architects, because without good data and without your data being ready, right? You can't really build sound AI solutions.
Isn't that crazy? Right? If you'd have said 10 years ago that it would be the data people, they were always put in the back room. Yeah. It was always the infrastructure, the cloud people, the storage people. Yeah. They were always the Like we wore the football jersey and the data people, what are you doing? And now the data people are like, it's kind of like Revenge of the Nerds, right? The data people have taken over and the Cisco person is like crying in the corner going, no one likes me anymore. Turn the port on. I'm better than that. It's true. When's the last time you saw CCIE? Like, remember that was the gold standard not too long ago.
And there is still some continuing demand for like cloud operations role, right? Infrastructure support roles. But I would say
it's been automated to the point where it's at least this is what I see on the surface. Like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but
it's changed dramatically, right? But when you ask like what's going to be that wave of demand, right? That easily I can look into a crystal ball and say that's we're gonna need candidates for. That's really within that AI data analytics realm.
So let's go over to security real quick, because like the SOC analyst is gone. It got automated out.
Yeah,
at least it did kinda breaking into security these days.
Yeah,
what's
as entering into security.
Yeah, I always talk entry level. I don't mean to, but that's the way IT and the D was always.
Yeah,
or even like advancing in security. What is there? Like I don't see any certs anymore like I used to.
Yeah, no, and that so arguably, we were at the Sim Detroit actually even, and I think one of the speakers even said actually one of the skill sets one of the things that I tell students to not study and focus on is actually around security. And so there's a changing dynamic. Yeah. I thought that was really interesting too.
Well, what do they focus on? Privileged data and identity? Yeah. Is that what they're telling them?
Yeah. And specifically, I'm trying to remember specifically where she said to focus in on mathematician, right? Scientist, focusing more on problem solving.
Math.
But like
math is
specifically around like cybersecurity, she said, that was an area that she recommended a lot of talent to go towards, which I found was interesting. But we're definitely not seeing as much demand in the cybersecurity side as well.
What are you seeing? What are you seeing at all? Anything in that world, in the cybersecurity world? Because that all, like, I remember like certain companies in town at one point 50, 60, 80 SOC analysts, and now you can put
and they're constantly hiring like schools and training them. And
just get the 101 security. Like you come in, you look at log files, and now that's all automated out.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like that's still a thing.
Yeah.
Like, people, security teams are as beefy as they've ever been. Like, in terms of learning that skill set though, like any tips on like even mid-level, what's
I mean, just the general tip that I would give, is we talked a little bit about the soft skills, right? There is, I think, the days of your technical and just being kind of heads down and coding, it is over, right? And there's a need to really kind of sell yourself. And I know, like, IT people naturally are not salespeople, right?
I'm a salesperson and I hate selling myself.
Right.
I'm just saying.
And so learning
You're
that
also bad
skill,
at
tech. No, I'm not. Speak for your, no.
Outside of certs, outside of the kind of the technical know-how, I would actually stress that building on the soft skills, building on those connections, building on networking opportunities, making yourself really uncomfortable and finding mentors and connections, that's probably the best skill that you can build. And that's probably the best way you're going to secure.
The whole reason you got into IT was to not do that.
That's what I'm saying. Those days are over, right? Yeah. You have to be able to make those connections.
I mean, that's why you have guys like Scott Smith that got into stand-up comedy. And you know, it's like, he didn't sit there one day going, I'm hilarious, but who knows?
Yeah.
We're not going to Toastmasters, Cathy. We're not.
One thing that has come up on previous shows that we haven't really touched on yet is like projects and like home labs and things like that, like doing IT on the side to show like build a portfolio outside of a career.
Yeah.
How are things like that? Is that still a good path?
We're not seeing that as a requirement, honestly, right? Like from clients care more about like what's the work experience, right? What's the industry experience and what have you done within those environments. And frankly, we're not seeing a lot of candidates that come with that level of portfolio. It definitely helps sometimes from like a fit of, what they're passions and their interests are, and does that align with where the organization is going? But we're not seeing that as kind of a standout for candidate applications.
So no, I got a good friend of mine, my brother-in-law. I didn't want to call him out, but he had I got him an interview with a CIO friend at a pretty big company. They're like, what do you got at home? And he's like, nothing, man.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole team basically frowned on that. And I was like, and I even told him, I go, do you even want to? He's like, no. And I go, on to the next. You know what I mean? It's like, here's my Git, here's my Raspberry Pi thing, here's the thing I built. You know, even if it's just like, here's my Google, I did home automation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I feel
or, you know, here's my GitHub with like some of the scripts I run at home or things like that. Yeah.
I feel like everyone should have like something. That's just my take, even if it's something minute. Because I like, again, there was such a frown from like that whole, and so like, answer me this, like IT, like tech interviews these days.
Yeah.
I remember when I interviewed some technicians, we used to always say, what'd you do last time there was a major outage? Mm-hmm. There was no wrong answer. We just wanted to know, did you dive in? Did you assemble a dream team? Did you call Microsoft support? Right. And that told us exactly who you were. And it wasn't a wrong, there was no bad answer.
Yeah.
Are there some like interview questions today that people should absolutely have a nailed answer for?
I would actually reverse that. So, it's hard to always predict. Like I was actually talking to somebody that was going into an interview, and she hadn't interviewed for a really, really long time. And actually we recently did a study, and this is probably not surprising, almost 50% of candidates said that they feel ill prepared for interviews. Sure. Right? Makes sense, right? Preparation goes a long way. If you're working with a recruitment company, make sure that they provide you as much prep and support as possible. That's kind of the one side note I'll make.
STAR method still the gold standard?
No, do
you know what STAR method is?
No, what's the STAR method?
All I know is situation.
Yeah.
Situation, task, something, but it's basically like, no, I think it might be more for in the sales side, but it was, hey, here was the issue. Yeah. Here's what I did. Here was the result. Okay. Maybe that's STAR as a result.
Situation,
action, situation, task, action, result. And so like we saved the company $1 million by, you know, so everything has to have a business outcome basically. And that's an overused term these days, but I think.
Yeah. I think that's a good mentality to have in terms of it. At the end of the day, what was the outcome, right? But what I was going to say was instead of trying to predict what questions are going to be asked, because what ends up happening is you go in there and different set of questions, right? That happens a lot, right? Yeah. And so instead of trying to predict what questions that they're going to ask, I actually reverse it and recommend to candidates, and this is what I do for my own in the past, like interview preps, is think about, what do I have to bring to the table? What do I want to make sure that they are clear on before I walk out the door, right? So I think about like, what are my top 3 skills and attributes that I believe before having walked into the interview, based on what I know about the job, whether that's through a job description, whether that be through a conversation I had with somebody that's at the company, or whether that be with my recruitment company. What information do I have about the company? And then what are the 3 skills or attributes that I have that I can bring to the table that really match up for that? And I think about very specific examples, right? Sure. Attached to those, right? And making sure that I find a way and candidates find a way to weave those in as part of their answers. Because the most difficult part about interviews, right, is thinking about those examples on a fly, right? Sure. They're like, last time you went through an outage, you're like, oh shoot, right? And you're trying to like think through that example.
Tell me about a time when. Yeah.
Tell me about a time when. And so if you already have some specific examples.
Make it up.
Right. So if you already have some like key examples that you're really proud about going in, then you're going to be more audible ready to give those examples and also highlight something that you wanted to highlight before you go into that interview.
So I'm always big on, here's what I'm good at and here's what I'm not. Yeah. And this stems back to about, 15, 18 years ago. It was pretty much a dream gig for my stage in my career at the time. Yeah. And I'm with chief technology officer, and he goes, first thing out of his mouth, he goes, everyone knows why you're great. Tell me why you suck. And I was so not prepared for that.
For that.
And I sat there and I go,
say?
I bombed it.
Yeah.
I literally bombed it. Yeah. And I was like, I worked, I think I completely stuttered my way through a shitty answer. And he goes, well, what's your best friend going to say you are right now? Like, what would he say you are? Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like fat, drunk, and stupid. But I can't tell him that.
Yeah.
Which that should have been the answer. So like, I still have that, like, I still regret how I answered that to this day. And ever since then, I've always had, here's the 3 things I'm really good at, and here's the 2 things I'm not good at. And it, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
And it's not, I concentrate too hard on I work too hard.
Yeah.
Or like salespeople are always like, expense reports. What's your weakness? Of course everyone's is. Yeah. But like having that on tap, like, and owning it and being good at it. I mean, what's your take on like, hey, here's what I'm not good at. Like, if it depends who you're looking for. Here's what I'm good at. Here's what I'm not. We always talked about recruiting and job searching, and this whole thing was like dating.
Yeah.
And it was like, if you can come out and just say, this is this and this is great, that and that is sucks. If you're okay with that, then let's go further.
Yeah, I think that shows a lot of like self-awareness, right? And if you're prefacing that with like, I have a desire to grow in X, right? I mean, if depending on what the bad is, right? Yeah. I think, it shows a lot of awareness, right? Vulnerability and the desire to grow, right? And not, you hope that everyone that's running towards a new opportunity is looking for an opportunity to grow and learn. And employers are very attracted to that, right?
Well, that's tell me about your last loss and what did you do?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, someone undercut me because they used offshore software dev and I couldn't do a damn thing about it and I'll never talk to them again. Yeah. Like, you can't answer like that. To me, that's always one of the worst. Like, sometimes it just doesn't, like sometimes people just buy Fords and not Chevys.
Yeah.
It's nothing the Chevy dealer did.
Yeah.
Right. So that's such an awful question. Is there a good way to answer that? Or is it just like, I know you kind of just said like, hey, here's what I learned. But sometimes like, sales, this is or anything for that matter,
Yeah. I think, it's all about how you react and come back from challenges, right? So if you lost something, or
the last outage, like, did you?
Hey, right. Or you had, whether it be a sale loss or whether it be the last outage, maybe there was something that you could have done to prevent that.
Fell asleep during Patch Tuesday.
Right.
Can't say that.
But to recognize and say, hey, this is how I rectified it. This is how I solved for it. And then here's a system that I created to make sure that this doesn't happen going forward. That's a great example, right? That's a great example of learning. That's a great example of growth. And again, that's a great example of awareness.
I was going to say, if you're in IT and you haven't screwed something really, like that's why I always said like own it, but like how to own it. No, that's a great example.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing in the market? Like in terms of your customers, because they got it, they're coming to you for specializations and like things like what is, we already said data and is hot.
Yeah.
What are you seeing anything else?
Yes. So I would say the other, just more generally kind of the demand that we're seeing across clients is, we touched on the soft skills, people who are willing to teach, right? So when you look at
that's what I do.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And so we talk about skill development, learning, and growth, right? I think the most sophisticated companies that have recognized that they need to create a culture of learning will also hire for that, right? So not just the techies that can just do, right? But how will they then impact others around them within the organization and help teach, especially when you think about skill sets like data, AI.
So obviously Randy's, that's what he does.
Yeah.
But if you're a network engineer, for example, how do you articulate that?
What do you mean? Like,
how do you articulate? I like taking on mentees. I like train the trainers. I like, how do you articulate that?
Documentation,
I did the KBs.
Knowledge bases
how did you find opportunities to onboard new network engineers, right? Or new additions to the team? What part did you take on the onboarding? Did you just focus on your task or did you actually take part and welcome a new team member, right? So without being in a leadership position or official coach position, you have the opportunity to create that responsibility for yourself and grow into kind of a more of a coach, right? And so that skill, not everyone has, of course, right? But that skill has become more valuable over time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do you put that on a resume? Because I can see how you could do it in an interview question and answer, but how can you put that on? I guess you can just put it on a resume going built, like wrote. Yeah, you just kind of answered it.
Yeah, wrote knowledge base articles
KBs
or
help assisted with onboarding,
onboarding assistance or
new hires, right, within the team. There's a lot of different ways that you can kind of put into that.
Can you scream at people, by the way, to quantify their things they accomplish on their resume?
On the resume, yeah. There's a lot of people don't do that.
I know. That's why I'm telling you, scream at them.
Yeah.
Because you see all the time, like, worked on this.
Yeah.
And you're like, and then
what was the outcome? What was the impact? What was the result? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Because that's the thing you see, like, I'm trying to think back to the guy that was, oh, I just do IT. Yeah. And like, I know you're better than that. What do you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to quantify. And I think walking in, a lot of the tech community doesn't walk in keeping track. Yeah. And then if you're in there for 8 years, and then you go, well, shit, what did I do in 2015? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you could have had like 8 awesome check boxes that you can scream to the mountains about.
At least twice a year, update your resume. Even if you're not looking, just keep track of what you've done so that when you do need a new job and you got to sit down and update your resume, it's like, I put one more thing in and my resume is current. It's not like I got to think back 5-6 years to what I've done at this job.
Unless you built a really good Power BI dashboard that's good, you can go back 5 years and you can look at.
Right, yeah.
Which I have. No, that's a thing too, though.
And then you migrate to a new system and then your dashboard's gone. Yeah.
I mean, but to your point around, like, you brought up the, like, using AI to create resumes based on the job descriptions.
Yeah.
Like, that's also a reason why you don't see a lot of outcomes and results in resumes, right? Like, it's just going to take buzzwords of, I did this, I used this technology, right? But like challenging everybody to think about, okay, then what was the result? What was the outcome, right? What was the business challenge I helped solve, right? And arguably there's some IT professionals that might say, hey, I just did network engineering, right? I wasn't a project manager. I wasn't, and they might argue, well, was there really a business outcome? There is always, right? Your work is always tied to some kind of business outcome. What is it? And articulate that into the resume.
And if you know it, I mean, that's the thing, like a lot of times a business won't tell you. I mean, but then again, though, saying uptime, hit SLAs.
But even like, I stood up a server. Okay. And what was that server for? How did it get used across the business? Did it impact clients, your customers externally? What was that server? What was that project that server was part of?
A lot of people don't think like that.
Yeah.
Like they got a task, they did it, and that was their check instead of like, how did you affect the business?
And that's the important part for that role. But to sell yourself is when you have to expand on why that was important to the business.
God, I hate selling myself. Yeah. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's the worst.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's with the 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews for like an entry level position? Like, they picked a new pope in 2 days. You don't need to interview the same candidate 6 times. Like,
that kills us too. Yeah. That kills.
I mean, it's a waste of everybody's time. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of the hiring manager's time. It's a waste of the applicant's time.
I talk about it all the time. I'll talk about it again. The big tech company that rhymes with schmoogle that I can't talk. 3.5 months. I think it was 11 total touches.
But you think about the schmoogles of the world, like they feel like they've got the upper hand, right? Like, I mean, and they do.
I would have lit myself on fire.
How many companies would you be willing to go to a 5, 6, 7, 8 round and still be interested at the end of that, right? So
then you have to go in front of a board and do a presentation on something you know nothing about.
Yeah. We are often in positions where I see us as advisors to our clients. It's not about us just taking the order. It's about us advising them, hey, can you consolidate these interview process into one, right? It helps you. It helps the candidate. It gives them a better experience
Well,
right?
I think like the perfect if I'm going to say like a perfect process, the hiring
Yeah.
manager, a peer, the boss.
Yeah.
Like I think if you get like thumbs up from
Yeah.
those like emphatic thumbs ups, to me that's
Yeah.
anyone else in the process doesn't really need. You know what I mean? Who else
Yeah.
in the process? Or the
And they don't
recruiter-
have to be separate interviews. Put them all in the room together for the
Yeah.
interview.
Well, that you want to. I think you want to bias. Like the recruiter doesn't count, so that's 4.
Yeah.
Right.
But the recruiter, I find like ask the question that the hiring manager tells them to ask, and whatever you answer doesn't like
Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you hear this. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and so often we see usually like 2, right? Sometimes 3. We don't encourage any more than 3, maximum 3-step interviews. But oftentimes our clients want to do like a quick virtual, right? And then are they worth bringing in person?
sure.
Right. So there's a lot of that. So usually it's kind of a 2-step interview. Some clients very decisive, 1-step interview.
So how do we get a hold of you?
Yeah. How do you get a hold of me?
Yes.
Yeah, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Cathy Shim, SHIM, or you can reach out to me over email.
You can reach out to me.
I don't
I know
know.
you.
Do you
I know
share
you.
my email address? I don't know.
I don't care. You do what you want.
We'll put your,
Cathy.shim at vaco.com.
Yeah, we'll put you.
we'll put a LinkedIn link on in their show notes. So
Perfect.
Kathy, can't thank you enough. It's always good to
Thank
see you.
I appreciate it.
And hopefully we'll see you at another event soon.
Yeah.
There's a CXO on Thursday. Randy and I will be there.
Okay. Awesome.
We'll be podcasting.
Love it.
Yeah, talking about properties of podcasting. But hey, really appreciate your time spent.
Thank you for having me.
On behalf of Bob and Randy, do us all a favor. Drink up your drinks. Get your phone numbers. You don't got to go home. You just got to get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.